Hello, everyone. Jose J. Garcia with Garcia Home University here. So, very special guest here today. She is out of the UK. Bit of time difference there. We'll talk about that as well. But she is a business mindset and business coach. She's quite a mouthful here. Business and mindset coach. I want to talk about that as well. You're a motivational speaker. I want to talk about that as well. You're a property investor, which we'll get into, and a serial entrepreneur. Cynthia Haywood, how are you?
I'm very good. Thank you very much. How are you?
Good, good. You know, the more people I bring on here, the more I realize I have to get into more businesses because y'all have a whole list of, and I go look at mine and real estate investor, coach, and mentor. I got to get more names in there. So, yes, ma'am. But so we met through same platform, same coaching, motivation, and of course, channels that we have together, Millionaire Flicks. But for those that don't know you, tell us about you.
Yeah, sure. So I spent more than 15 years in executive roles in a lot of different corporate companies, so blue chip companies that everyone probably knows as well. So that has actually helped me to realize that I quite like to influence at scale. And obviously, when you are in leadership position, that's what you can do to some extent. However, having said that, I always had that entrepreneurial flair to me. And I felt that even though I ended up being very successful in my corporate career, that there was that bit that was missing, which is the entrepreneurial bit for me. And then what I decided to do then is sort of like working on my self-development. I hired a coach and all this, and really to sort of like unleash what is it that I could do on my own, but that I could do well, because that's the key thing, what is it that you'd be able to do really well. And this is where my first venture came along, because I was already freelancing, with tutoring and all that type of things. So I launched my agencies, so working with schools and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And that ended up being a very, very good success. Within 3 months, like literally that boomed. And all of a sudden I found myself that I needed to recruit teachers and tutors and stuff to make it work. And today it's more or less on autopilot, because they are long-term contract, and then, you just like every 2-3 years, you sort of like revisit. So it's a beautiful place to be. The coaching came really as a natural step to what I was already doing in my corporate job, because I was already coaching, like high performing teams, so it was kind of like high performance coaching, but also helping, companies to grow their revenues and find new revenue streams, new market and stuff like that. So I was already in that stream in a way, dictated by obviously the business goals. So I couldn't really use all my own initiative to some extent. So the coaching came along with that, but also came along to the fact that I felt that I could give a lot more, around the mindset and a lot of things that has happened, throughout my life as well, that I could help people with. And then the real estate is a long-term, long life dream. That's something I wanted to do. My parents done it. It's in my family blood. Okay. My granddad is a real estate investor, etc. And I felt that was something I wanted to do. So it's not easy to juggle loads of different things, but once you find your calling, I think that's where everything connects together and you make it work.
Absolutely. Beautifully said. Yes, ma'am. So, and we're going to talk a bit more into that. Definitely. I think the majority here is like success, what people do's and don'ts. But you said one thing there already that caught my attention, and that's, I think I kind of relate to it in a way. And that was, even while you were doing through these whole corporate jobs, whatever you were doing, you always felt like there was more. You had that entrepreneur pull already. And I think that's huge, because so many people settle. One thing that I saw with corporate America here in the US, of course, was that we would constantly get these little like reminders on our computer from, I guess, happy whatever they try to make it be anyway. But what it was is they were congratulating somebody, for 50 years into the company with a big old cake or a gift card or something. And in my mind, that was just mind blowing that you worked here for 50 years. And I mean, to me, that was a degrading the way you give me a cake. Like, wow, like that's, and it all starts with that comfort zone of it's okay for me to work here. Every day for 50 years, you came to work. That's just wow. So I had that early on as well. As like I always felt like, early on, I didn't know what it was. I didn't know where to get started, what it was going to be. I just knew like, there's no way. There's no way this is all there is to it. I got to be more something. So I think that's huge to keep you away from getting comfortable and settling. So that's awesome on there. Yes, ma'am. So why do you think so many people do settle though? Just let me just do it kind of thing.
Fear.
Fear.
Fear of, yes, fear of stepping outside of what is, if you like, the common belief, of what needs to be done. So, you go to school, you go to college, and then you get employed because, there is that sense of security. And I think if, that pandemic, what that has shown us is, there's no security, there's nothing to be taken for granted. But if you think about it, and I think it's worldwide, because I even studied in the US for like a year, what have you, and
Okay.
it's still the same stream, like everyone kind of saying, okay, you study, hopefully you do well, and then you go and get a job, but the job is never, you should create your own thing, it's about you go and get employed somewhere, and you're there and it's secure, and hopefully you can climb up. And I definitely, I mean, I don't condemn it to some extent, because that has made me as well to in a lot of ways, so but I'm definitely was a product of this.
Sure.
But sometimes in your own personality, in your own intuition, in your own everything, that it's there's just more to it. And not everyone can be an entrepreneur as well, by the way. So I think some people are probably better employed, the good employees. That's the setting that suit them. But but if you are miserable, there's two ways in my mind, like, so either you change job and find your way, or you just change that setting altogether. And I think where the problem comes from is the fact that, loads of people get stuck where they are out of fear, but also because it feels safe. So it's as if, for example, you have a dream, a good dream, or what you think is a good dream, and I'm trying to wake you up from that dream. You wouldn't want to be waken up from that dream, right? So it's the same for a lot of people that get up every day, they do the same thing day in, day out, but they don't want to confront, some of their reality. So they'd rather just stay with the known.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's a mixture so much. I usually wonder is what more is it, one or the other? Or I think more and more, even just hearing you talking, I think it's a mixture of the above, and that is fear, comfort, and settlement. It's all one big mixture of really, something that isn't and shouldn't be, but it's a system. And that's one thing that I keep reminding myself is that, we have the whole system. I was talking to somebody about this the other day, and as I was headed to my office. It was 6 in the morning, and I noticed a school bus. Now we're in summer now at this point, but this was a few weeks ago, and I noticed a school bus going by, which is very common. But I looked at it as I was at the light, just kind of sitting there thinking, and it was full of children. 6, 7, 8 years old. I don't know, a mixture of I can't tell how old kids are, but I was thinking, that is a system that has been set in place, and it's to make us feel that that's okay. And it's up to us to make that difference, because nobody's going to do it. And it's why we're such a small crowd that, to go after success, you really, truly do have to break out of that system more than anything. And you're talking about very uncomfortable. It's not going to be something you can settle for. Every day is not a guarantee. That comes with it. And you understand that all too well. But just gets me thinking, this is a whole mixture of just breaking away from something that has been taught to us from so many years, and it's still seen that's the way it's supposed to be. It's not.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, 100%. Even the other day, I was invited in a school fair thing, and the reason why they wanted me in, it wasn't to talk about entrepreneurship. It was about talking about my corporate career and how, I sort of lived the dream of going to university and then, starting at the bottom and then moving up, throughout the years and so on and so forth. So, of course, twisted it a little bit, but the reason why I was selected as a speaker for the youngsters, that had to choose, their path as they go into university, was because of the corporate side, not on the entrepreneurship side. So it is really embedded. I still feel that, thank God, now that it's more access to information and everything like that, I think that, there's more and more young people, that see this as an opportunity, or at least as an alternative. So it's not as rigid, I would say, that it was maybe 5, 10, 20 years ago, but it's still there because everything is structured that way, to make you go that way, as opposed to trying to sort of like saying, well, actually, if I have the ability, or maybe I can learn and at least try,
Sure. Yeah, and I mean, I definitely agree with you in the not everybody. That was the question I was going to ask, is can everybody an entrepreneur? I think that no. I think some people are better off being employees. A lot of people prefer to be told what to do, have that mentality of an employee of give me a job, give me a task. I come in, I leave, and I'm done kind of thing. So, but if it is followed by misery, which to me it was flat out misery going to work every day. And it took me a while to get past that and realize,
Yes.
okay, this is it. That scary leap of faith moment, but you do it. And I didn't even finish high school here in America, so I tell people sometimes that kind of surprises them. And the only thing I can best relate to is Mark Twain, who said, I never allowed school to get in front of my education. So I think that's huge. And just like entrepreneur may not be for everybody, I don't think school's for everybody. It wasn't for me. So many things, but
yeah.
how do
That's
you
correct.
think, because when we think about failure and going back to the whole school system and the whole system set in place, when we think of failure, we think of the absolute worst thing possible. But as entrepreneurs, we know otherwise. How do you think people should really take failures based on what you believe?
Yeah. So to be honest, when I was at school, each time if I would have ever had have a bad grade, I would be devastated. Oh my God, the world is ending, and that's the end. I'm rubbish, and everything else in between. And life teaches you a lot of lessons. So I think it's again, it's like a mindset. So it's not easy to get set back, but it's more about what you do about it. And I think if you take failure as a lesson, sometimes it's even a blessing, to be honest, because it's almost like, okay, you failed because that wasn't the right path for you at that time. When you have that mindset where you're like, okay, you know what, I tried, but this is not the outcome that I wanted, as opposed to take it as a failure, then there's several avenues from there. So it can either be a blessing because, look, it's good that didn't go that way, then that would have gone really bad, or it's a lesson. And there's always something to take out of a failure that you can sort of like retweak, repolish, and do it again. So it's never a set in stone thing that just stays there and you're like, okay, now I should never go near it. Sometimes there are signals as well, to tell you something else. Maybe you need to prepare more. Maybe you need to have the support of other people to make it happen, and the list goes on. For example, last year when I did, my second project, because of the COVID situation, so I had to raise finance on top of what I was doing, and literally they turned me down for £2. That was over the affordability. Yeah, believe it or not, £2, 3. Yes, believe it or not, this is just insane. But they changed the rules, with the COVID situation, and there was just no way, to go around it, at the time. And what I realized is because when I had that project, I went so crazy about it. I had that grandeur type of thing. And what I needed to do is rescale that project to make it better for myself within the time scale as well. And so that was almost a blessing that I got stopped, because that actually prevented me from overspending. That prevented me from actually going in a place that I should have not gone, investing in that property. So you need to take something back out of that. And of course, at first time, I'm like, what? How can I be rejected? My credit score is good, everything's good. What's going on? But then literally with the exact same thing, I go then 6 months later, asking for more, and I went free. So the timing and what I wanted to do this the second time round, 6 months later, was a better setting for me. And I've gone through with the exact same company as well.
So almost like fail, but keep going, because you can't stop. You really only truly fail when you stop. That has been said. We've heard it, I'm sure. And I think that brings me to my next question, though. It's accountability. I'm pretty hard on myself. Some people say I'm too hard, whatever that. I don't believe it. I believe nobody can be as hard on me as I am, and that's good because of accountability, which we learn from our coach, same coaches we have. But do you think people are too easy on themselves?
I think some people are delusional, like they think they probably be better than they are, but I think to me what I've seen, and even when I coach my clients, what I've seen is that a lot of people have, they overestimate the short term. I think that's what it is. Like, they kind of think, okay, if I decide or if I want to do something, they pack a lot of things they want to do, a lot of goals, within the year or something. I'm going to do this, I want this, I want this, I want this. And then once you start asking, okay, what happens in 2, 3, 5, 10 years time? Then all of a sudden you get that silence because no one has thought about this. And I think a lot of times it's like when people see change or when they think of doing something, it's jam-packed in a short period of time, and you guaranteed quite a lot of failure there, right? Because it's too fast, it's too much in one go. Whilst if you build small, so you have 1 or 2 main projects that you want to do for the next 6 months to a year, right? And you really dive into it, to really become an expert to it, or bring you a coach or whatever you want to do. But that's your main focus. You learn so much so quickly that then you can really accelerate. So really the thing is you should have small project at the beginning, and then in the next 5 years, you should be able to blow my mind with so many things you want to do because you would have built those blocks. And I think a lot of time what happened is you have the reverse happening. So people are coming quite delusional when they feel that they can make that change, and they feel invincible because they have that buzz to try to do a lot of things, and then that falls flat, after a few months because there's no strategy, there's no focus, and the list goes on.
Okay, absolutely. Yeah. Number one reason you think people fail when trying to be successful, what do you think? If you could name one.
I think if I can name one, I think to me it's the lack of vision.
Okay.
I think a lot of time, some people, I think what I've seen is people talk, I want to do this, or I'd like this, I'd like to be a billionaire, I want to do that. But they don't really have a real vision to set goals to that vision.
Yes.
I think that's where it is, because there's a difference between a vision and a dream. Like a dream is just it's just an illustration of what that could potentially look like. The vision is your destination as to where you want to go. And now then once you know, and you begin with the end in mind, I want to go there, then it's about having those goals, and the goal is almost the path, that takes you there. And again, I talk to a lot of people, and they're like, oh yeah, I'd like to set up my photography business, and I want to do this and I want to do that, but they don't really truly have even a vision statement for themselves as to how does that even look like in a precise way. And I think that's why it fails as well, because it's that blurring thing between I have a dream and I have a vision. So to me, that's almost the main thing, because you can't set goals then from there.
You're hitting some good stuff here, and I see why you're a motivational speaker now. So I'm going to throw something in here, absolutely, because the next thing was going to be, I was going to ask and talk about was more so time. Time and how I think so many people take it for granted. It's like, well, they have this vision for one, definitely, and they not in maybe goals and what they should be, but it's tomorrow, next week, next month. You're not guaranteed any of that time. So for somebody to say, well, I'll get to it, that's just a push up. I don't want to do it right now kind of thing. So, but right back to accountability, but also taking time for granted. You know, I set myself for 30-minute increments every day. And I plan the day before. I have to. If I don't plan anything for the next day, it is winging it to whatever. And I believe you may be able to wing it to many things, but you can't wing it to life. So, and you know, as best, because you know, I'm gonna toss this in here, as Les Brown would best say is, you know, no set plan is a plan to fail. So if you're not planning, I think that also goes with hand in hand with the whole New Year's resolutioners. You know, you have all these goals, quotations, all these, and come first week of February or even earlier, sometimes mid of January, they've already dropped that off. They forgot about it.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
so if you don't set goals, you don't set visions, and most importantly, I think if you don't set time frames behind it, you can basically forget about it, because you're going to lose. You know, motivation comes and goes. We can't expect that, and if it's there, awesome. We'll use it as a bonus. But you know, if you don't set these goals and times, it's not going to happen. That's just about as simple as that goes.
100%. 100%.
What do you think the definition of success means to you?
Yes, it's always a big one, and I was thinking about this the other day. Actually, what does that look like for me? I think for me, really, success is having the freedom to explore what I want to explore, you know, and attract the abundance back to me. So you know, the ability to go out there and give, but also to receive. To me, it's an exchange. You know, success. You know, because it's not. At first, when I thought about it, I thought, well, you know, if I'm successful, that means that I have the house and I have the money and I have this and I have that. But what I realized is actually success is almost a two-way street for me, where I have also been able to impact other people with the gift that I have. And the gift that I have, some of the gift that I have is to be able to impact other people's life, you know, helping them unleash their potential, you know, helping them realizing that they can do what they want to do, etc., etc. And that in itself, when I see, you know, some of my clients transform, you know, having those breakthroughs, you know, and whatever form that looks like, it's not always necessarily having, you know, attractive money, but sometimes it's about as well, you know, removing blocks, you know, or limiting beliefs or whatever that block them from the life that they need to live. Just that on its own, it's a great success. The second aspect is I always had a goal of a certain lifestyle for myself and my family, and whether it was from a corporate career or entrepreneurship, that I just knew that that's the type of lifestyle that I need to have, and I want to have that freedom, you know, that time and space to do what I want to do, and so right now I would say that's what I live. And success is it's something that you need to maintain and nurture, you know, so it's not like a one-time thing. You know, you need to nurture it, you need to maintain it, you need to work for it, and you need to be grateful for it, most importantly, as well.
Very well said. Yes, ma'am. So, and talking back slightly into the motivation, because that's something that a lot of people use. What do you think is one thing that keeps you motivated, driven, and wanting more, that every day to keep pushing?
The vision, like, you know, I always with the end in mind. And when I have setback, when I'm tired, when I'm not well, where maybe things are dragging along a little bit or whatever, you know, what keeps me going, you know, that fire that you have in your belly is knowing where you're going. If you know where you're going, I promise you, no matter what happens, you know, you have people talking, trying to discourage you on your journey. You have, you know, the people that's going to tell you that's not going to work. you crazy, like, why are you investing in the pandemic, blah, 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 the whole thing. But if you solid in your vision and you have that clarity of your vision, you go back up, you rise up every single time. And my motivation is knowing where I'm going, because I know that through the dark path, through the winding roads, through whatever that is, that light is waiting for me right there. And I'm coming for it. It's that simple.
Well said. Yes. Your vision has to overpower all the above. And you said one thing there that, I'll say it all the time. It's like, it doesn't even matter because it can't matter. And that's tired. I'm tired. So what? You can only be so tired, then you're just tired. Well, then be tired and still go after your vision so that you get there quicker, kind of thing. So very, very well put. What is one piece of advice you could share with somebody getting new, somebody trying to get started in success, that to really get that fire going and push them out there?
Yeah, sure. I think you all start with the mindset. I think it's very important to work on the mindset. And sort of like removing and doing that cleansing on all those things that we talked about today. Around what you heard, what that one's going to say. Stop looking for acceptance from the outside world, and trust that voice within. Trust your instinct, trust your guts of what you're trying to do. And I think that also if you align your expectation with the timing as well, so that's also another thing that we talked about today, the timing and so on, then you can't really go wrong as well, because a lot of times what happens is you're like, okay, I want to be an entrepreneur and I want to be a six figure or millionaire in the next 3 months. Of course it happens sometimes, but it's quite rare, because you're going to have to go through quite a few things before that happens. And even if that happens, you can lose it all as well. Let's remember that too. So I think it's about also having the right expectation at the right time. And that's why I always advise, to start small and build fast. Start small, build fast. And the other bit as well is, I think someone that doesn't know anything about business, stop to try to do it on your own. That doesn't work. You waste time. You're going to do fatal errors. You're going to be overwhelmed, and the list goes on. Just get a coach, network with people. Everyone that has ever been successful in life has never done it on their own. They might have initiated with the idea, whatever, but if you think of all the very big successful people, they always enter in partnership. They always have coaches. They always have, that network of people that help them where maybe your brain is not going to go. And that's how as well you build a solid foundation, and then you start building those blocks from there. So that I would say that the few pillars, and then a few more. Patience. Okay, you got to be patient. Well, Rome wasn't built in one day. You got to be patient. You're going to persevere. Okay, you got to be persistent in your ways. And again, if you're clear on your path and where you want to go, you got to be persistent in this, because sometimes things don't happen at the time that you want it to happen, like the example I gave earlier. And be prepared to work hard. But it's not working hard like we do when we work for someone else that tells you what to do. You work hard for your passion. You work hard for your dream and for your vision. So it's no longer even working. It's embedded into your lifestyle, because entrepreneurship as well it's a lifestyle. So it's not a job really in a way. So it is a lifestyle that you adopt also. So it's about changing that mentality. So that would be my key advice that I would give to someone that is trying to start out there. And well done on getting to that first step too.
Absolutely. So many things there, so many things at one time. It's awesome. Cynthia, we're a bit of time difference. I know in the UK, you're more towards the evening time at this point, and I'm in the morning time. I'm having a little slow morning this morning. It's Friday. It doesn't matter. It's one more day just for any other entrepreneur, right? But one thing, and talking to you, you getting me going. You get me driven, motivated here. So that's a good thing. And a couple things to add to is definitely, when advice too, I would always say is pick something. Pick something, anything, and stick with it, because too many times I think people pick something and then it gets a little hard. Oh, well, it's not for me. And then they go to something else and something else.
Yeah,
And, as our coach would say is, pick something, stick with it. I want doesn't get you there. Decisions do, and
that's right.
decide with the coach. That's something else you talked on as a coach. If there was one thing I could do differently getting started is I would have hired a coach. Reinventing the wheel, that doesn't work. It doesn't
Doesn't work.
work, and it never has, and it only impedes you from getting there quicker. I don't know about most people, but time is, something you don't want to pass up on. So the quicker, the better. Last
Yes.
question for you. What is next for Cynthia? What's next for you?
What's next for me? So right now I am actually building my creating my own coaching academy at the moment. So which will indeed support individuals and entrepreneurs in the 5 key areas of life. So business, career, mindset, your self-worth and everything else in between. So it's gonna have like that five pillars there. So the launch date, it's yet to be 100% defined, but it's definitely next month, at some point next month.
Okay.
And so yes, I'm carrying on the coaching. I stepped away a little bit from the one-to-one, so I still have one-to-one clients, but I'm trying to dedicate a lot more time into the group coaching and so on and so forth. And then carrying on with my my real estate as well. So I'm finishing a project now, and I will look for my next one within the next sort of 3 months or so as well. So what's next for me is to carry on developing as a coach, carrying on helping and impacting lives at scale. And I'm very grateful to be on your show today, of course, to share some of my wisdom, can I say, or my experience. So thank you so much for the invitation. But that's exactly what I love to do. I really love to come like this and speak my truth and being authentic. I see on social media sometimes, build your business in 4 weeks, and after 3 months, I'm like, oh, come on, please stop this, because that's not helping people to really try and take this seriously. I had many sleepless nights trying to do my stuff. It's not easy, and you got to be real. You got to, people need to understand that it's not a 9 to 5 job. You have to work until it's done. Whatever day you need to do that day, it's got to be done. That's it. So there's no hours bound to this.
You make me want to have more and more of these, and I'm going to bring you back because I want to keep talking more on that. So absolutely, is you don't stop until the job is done. Well said. Yeah. 9 to 5. That's not for somebody trying to get ahead. If you're complacent, you're comfortable where you're at, 9 to 5 is for you. But if it's not, this show isn't either. So hey, absolutely. Good stuff. Good stuff on that. And next time we bring you on, we definitely want to talk about some of that real estate you're doing, because we're mobile home investors, some a little different, but something we can talk on as well. So Cynthia, I know 100%. Some people are going to want to connect with you after this call for sure. I know I'm going to reconnect with you. So, but for people, how can they connect you? How can they find you?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram. I'm more active on Instagram than any other platform. So it's Cynthia Haywood, all in one word, and then with the underscore. So yeah, people can follow me. They can send me a message. I'm quite active there, so I try to respond to everyone. When I get the connection. So it's always good to connect. It's always good to have questions. Anything else I can do to support and help.
Absolutely. And I'll add the links on here to make it easy for people. So, well, Cynthia, thank you very much for joining us today. We will have you again, but till next time, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. You take care. Bye-bye.